Hey there, Machine Pun Kelly coming at you today. I'm gonna do some cooking. I'm gonna make some, take these leg quarters, and these I got at HEB for $4.90. It's 10 pounds. So I'm gonna carve these up. I'm gonna make some chicken nuggets and with half of it, and I'm gonna make some bacon wrapped stuffed chicken thighs with the other half. And then I'm gonna keep the bones. I've got some chicken necks. I'm gonna put those in a pot, and I'm going to make some chicken stock. And so if you add all that together, you get an awful lot for $5 worth of food plus another $3 for the chicken necks that I got. Out of all that, I should get about $100 worth of food. So I'll go through all that and explain to you what I'm doing, show you how I'm doing it, and right now I'm just gonna go ahead. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna cut open this bag and take out the chicken thighs and or the leg quarters, and I'll be right back. All right, so now I've got my chicken rinsed. Well, not rinsed. You never want to rinse your chicken in the sink because it can spray chicken stuff everywhere. What you want to do is just drain the blood and guts and whatever, and then you want to just pat it down with a paper towel, which I've done. The next thing that's important when you're carving chicken like this is always sharpen your knife before you do it. It's counterintuitive, but the sharper your knife is, the less chance that you're going to cut yourself. And then just in case you don't, it's a good idea to get one of these guys. This is a glove. I almost lost a fingertip one time. And that's when I was convinced I need to get these things. But this is it's a knife guard glove. And so not everybody uses these, but I like to because I like my fingertips. All right. So I am not the best at this. There are probably videos that you can find. Well, there are certainly videos that you can find that are going to be a better example. I know this because that's how I learned to do this. But what you want to do is you want to just kind of feel for where the bone is. And then you want to take your knife and just cut right along that bone until you get to the end of that piece, all right? Then you want to find the bone here, and you just want to carve right alongside that, okay? And then you're gonna come up here and you're just gonna cut that off, and you're gonna pop out this guy. The bone will start coming out, and this is where you're gonna be glad you have the glove, because you're gonna come along here and you're just gonna kind of shave this down. For this one, for these, I'm not too worried about preserving the whole thigh thing. So if I don't do it nice and clean, I'm not too worried about it, because this is all just going into the food processor anyway to grind up. So now, see, like I've got that bone done. All right, so then I'm just gonna come along here and get the thigh bone out. You'll get your joint here. Like I said, there are definitely better tutorials on this. So let's get that out. And then we're just going to come along here. And there you see this bone. So now you're going to come along. Once you see the bone, you just cut along the bone until you can get to where you can pop this guy out. You want to try and preserve as much of the meat as possible. But what I'm doing with these is I'm also just saving the bones for the stock. So if a little meat's on there, I'm not too concerned about that. All right, so there we go. We're almost out of there. And there you go. Oh, whoops. Looks like this one's got one of those. This is one of those. Sometimes you'll get these ones where there's like some extra bone, like right here. So you can just cut that off. And then I'm not going to worry too much about this meat. That's just meat for the... so you can do this. And so what I'm going to do is some of these I will grind, and others I'm gonna use and roll them up and stuff them with cream cheese and then wrap them in bacon. But anyway, I'm gonna just do all 10 of these. I'm gonna time myself on, or actually there's 8 of these, so I'll time myself on how long that is. I'll also weigh the meat and the bones to see what kind of ratio I got, and it's good to do that anyway because I'm going to want to know how to do how much water I'm going to need for my stock. I'm just going to cut some of this off. For these, we're not worried about the skin because the skin actually has a lot of vitamins, and the fat helps hold the nuggets together a little bit better, and it's yummy. So I'll be back once this is done. Oh, you know what? While I'm doing the next one, I'm going to just talk about something. So I'll do one more. Because I had somebody ask me, I actually, I have a few people, like they are scared of cooking. And I was talking to my friend. I actually was interviewing Spencer on my podcast last week. And we were talking about being comfortable with food and how to become comfortable with food. And one thing is just work with it. The more you cook, the more comfortable you get with cooking. But the other thing that I think is important is to just learn to enjoy the process. Like, I know some people get stressed out about it. They're like, oh, nobody's going to like this, or what if I do something wrong? And you know what happens if you do something wrong? Absolutely nothing. Like, literally nothing. You just eat less than perfect food. And you learn something. And then you can do it better the next time. I think that I have made many, many mistakes when I cook. And I've learned many, many things from those mistakes. So don't be afraid of it. And the other thing is people, like, they're worried about, boy, I got this thing right here. That's really, so the other thing is, like, one, don't be afraid of it. But the other thing is to, like, sometimes it's just about the work. Like, people are like, it's so much work. And so what I do is when I'm doing something like this, and like once I go into finishing this, I'm just gonna, I've got my kitchen display thing over there, and I'm just gonna turn the news on and just listen to the news and have something just to keep my mind occupied. Sometimes I'll watch a TV show. And I just kind of take my time. I'm not worried about the time. I'm not worried about the work. I just enjoy the process of cooking. And the third thing that I think is helpful in terms of just learning how to enjoy cooking is to anticipate it. And so, like, what I'll do, I'll have this happen where I will just be So looking forward to cooking. I will think about, I'll just be thinking about it. It'll keep me awake at night sometimes, just thinking about, oh, this is a great idea. Like last night, I was thinking about the nuggets, and I just kept, somebody had said something about wrapping these, and I thought, you know what would be great is to wrap one of these up, get some ricotta cheese and some ham, and then wrap this up in ricotta cheese and ham, and then put some bacon on it, wrap the bacon around the chicken, and then throw it on the smoker. So that's what I'm gonna do. But like, I'm looking forward to having this amazing food. These amazing nuggets that are so much better. I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough to know when the McDonald's nuggets were dark meat. I think they were so much better. My wife disagrees. I think a lot of people like thought the nuggets were better before this whole white meat craze happened. So we're just gonna cut this part off first this time. So anyway, enjoy cooking. Like, enjoy the whole process. Like, from thinking about what you're gonna cook, enjoy the actual cooking, and then you'll enjoy the results a lot more, because you know you've been anticipating, you've been thinking about it. It's like one of my favorite things in the world to do. It's like a great pastime. And, you know, not everything you're doing is something you're going to need to keep 100% of your attention on. So just have the news on in the background. Have a show that you like to watch. But, you know, like some of these shows that only need like half your attention, because TV is not exactly always intellectual these days. You know, you can just throw on like one of those murder mysteries or something, or rewatch a show you've watched before, so you kind of know the series already. So if you miss a little part, you're not wondering what's going on. Like, I've been rewatching White Collar. It's a good show. But you know, just have something else you can do while you're cooking, and then you're not even really thinking too much about the cooking. You're just, you know, just like me right now. I'm just sitting here carving up these chicken thighs, and I'm not worried about, am I doing it perfect? You can tell I'm not doing it perfect. Who cares? You know, it's all going to be the same nugget anyway. I might spend a little more time on the last fork, since those will be the ones that I'm wrapping. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Just enjoy cooking, and you know, if you're looking forward to it, and you do it, and you make it so that it's not boring to do, then you know, that one was kind of a tough one. But as you do that, you'll get more used to it. Oh, you know, one thing I forgot to mention is another thing I like to do when it comes to carving meat or working with meat like this, where I'm going to be touching it a lot, is I always take it out about an hour, 45 minutes or an hour before I start working with it, because you know, take it out of the fridge. I thought in the fridge. Then I take it out of the fridge about 45 minutes to an hour before I work with it. And the reason I do that is, if it's cold, then you know, your hands get cold. So anyway, I'm just gonna throw all these in. This is all going into my Instant Pot, because my Instant Pot has a sous vide. I'll show you the stock later, but anyway, I'm going to finish this up, and I'll come back to you once I'm done. And I'm going to do what I was saying. I'm going to watch a little TV in the meantime. All right, so I'm back. It took about half an hour to get it all cut up, and I did a couple of other things. I put it through the meat grinder. I have a meat grinder. If you don't have a meat grinder, you can just put it in a food processor. But I figure most people probably don't have meat grinders, so I didn't film that part. But you just have to put it in a food processor and pulse it up until it's ground. You can do it in a standard food processor just as easily. Perhaps not just as well, but it's not that hard. Now here I have some bread that I have been soaking in milk. And this is just 2 slices. I mean, this happened to be homemade bread. You don't have to use homemade bread. But, you know, you just want a binder to keep the nuggets together. And then I have an egg I'm going to put in there. And then I will add the most important food group to occasion, Tony's Creole seasoning. So, these are going to be like Popeye style. These are going to be Cajun nuggets. And the nice thing about this is, you know, like just the basic components are the same if you want to make sesame chicken or orange chicken or whatever. You're just, you know, it's still nuggets. So there's a lot of things you can do with just this kind of basic recipe. And so I'm just going to add some Cajun seasoning here. By the way, it came out to about 6 pounds of chicken and 4 pounds of bones. So I divided the chicken in half. 4 will be the rolls, and 4 will be for nuggets. So we're going to do the nuggets first, and just going to break the. Like sometimes I feel like the most important, the easiest tool to use is your hands. So I'm just going to go in here, and I'm just going to mix this up with my hand until it starts to get kind of a little bit sticky. And then I'll make the nuggets. And when I make the nuggets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the nuggets, and then I'm going to just pop them in the freezer. Because like right now, it's, you know, you can tell it's going to be hard to work with. So I'm gonna pop those in the oven or in the freezer until they get hard, and then I'll bread them, and then I will fry them in the air fryer. But right now it's starting to get together pretty well. When I grind it, I just grind it with the skin on and everything. I find it adds a lot of flavor. These are not going to be the lowest fat nuggets in the world, but they're gonna be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the nuggets now. And okay, I just realized at some point I forgot to hit record. So what I did, in case I missed it all, this is the I just scooped out these nuggets, scooped out the meat and put it on the parchment paper. Now I'm going to stick it in the freezer, and once it's frozen, I'm going to come and coat them. It's just, these are a lot easier to work with when they're not so soft. So I'm just going to freeze them up to get them harder, to make them easier to work with. So I've got another tray to go, and I'll just do that off camera. And once everything is frozen, I'll come back, I'll show you. Oh, you know what? Yeah. So while that's happening, I'm going to make some ranch dressing. I'll show you how to do that. And I think I'll roll these up and get these guys going too. So I'll come back once these are done and I'm ready to do these. Okay, so the nuggets have been freezing. They're just about ready to come out of the freezer. Before I do that, I'm just going to get my prep done for getting them ready to fry. So I've got some breadcrumbs that I dried. This is from homemade bread. you can just buy Pan-Cal. I'm just going to make my own Pan-Cal right here. It's easy to make. I'm just going to dump some of these breadcrumbs into my food processor and put my food group in there. This is just more Cajun seasoning because you can never have too much Cajun seasoning. And then just going to come back here and just there we go. That should do it. Now we're looking good. Okay. So we're just gonna pour this in here. Give it a taste. All right, now we're done with the food processor for the day, so that's good news. We're almost done actually with everything. Well, still got to do the chicken broth after this. All right, so just gonna move this out of the way. Move this out of the way. Now I've got some flour here. That's about 1 cup of flour. Add the food group to it. Just gonna toss that around. Maybe add a little bit more. Oh, and one other thing. Needs a bit of, one other thing, just add a bit of cornstarch. Okay. Maybe 2 tablespoons. I forget that I need to give measurements sometimes because I just kind of go by instinct. But anyway, for the seasoning, just go by taste, however much you want it spicy. Okay, oh, and then to my Pan-Cal. My Pan-Cal. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I think it is. Panko? Pan-Cal? Maybe it's Panko. Anyway, I know it's Parmesan. So we're gonna do that. This is not the fancy Parmesan. Some people might want to use it. But for something like this, it's not necessary. And this is just to give it a little more crispiness, a little more crunchiness to the nuggies. Okay. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is take some of my buttermilk, pour some of that here. Maybe a tiny bit more. This is just my egg wash, but I figured might as well use buttermilk instead of water as long as I have some. Just get a whisk. I was going to get a spoon, but I didn't want to whisk it. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to mix this up. And of course, add the food group. Starting to see why I call it a food group, right? Tony's is like, there's all kinds of like fancy Cajun seasonings, but I'm telling you, if you ever lived in Louisiana, that's the stuff. All right. Now, just gonna pull out my nuggies and okay, gotta figure out how I'm gonna arrange this right now. Okay. so this is my air fry. I've got a 3-tray air fryer. So I'm gonna drop a few of these. They're much harder now, easy to work with. I'm gonna drop a few of these in the flour at a time, and then just kind of toss them around, get them floured up. Then drop them in the wash. And then just toss them over there. And then toss them in the breading. And there you go. And then we're just going to do that for all of these. And again, I won't bore you with making you watch me do every single one. But this is the general gist. It's not that hard, and actually not that time consuming. So I tend to, when I'm doing battering like this, I always like to just stick using one hand so I can keep the other hand batter free. There's probably a baseball joke in here somewhere, but you probably wouldn't want to hear it if I could come up with it. So anyway, I'll come back once I've got everything done and going into the air fryer, and I'll show you how things are looking then. Okay, so hoping you can see it. I've got 3 trays here of nuggets, and I only did half of them. So it's 19 nuggets. I'm going to do the other half later. I'll just leave them in the freezer. They're, you know, like they can be in the freezer for for a while. So I'll just put those in a bag once they're frozen solid, and then at some future point I can make them. And I ended up deciding to do that because I decided that, if I wanted to I make them for orange chicken or something, I can do that. I know there's a little bit of Cajun seasoning in there, but I can still work with that. So now I'm just gonna spray a little bit of avocado oil on there. I forgot to spray my pan. So anyway, I'm just gonna spray a little bit of avocado oil and get my pan. I don't think I'm gonna worry about the pan actually, because there's so much fat in there. But anyway, then when you're air frying stuff, a trick I learned, actually I think even if you're deep frying stuff, it's not bad to just let it sit for a bit. And that keeps the breading from coming off in the air fryer. So I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to pop it in the air fryer, which is preheating right now. And then once that's, then I'll put it in there for about 20 minutes, and I'll show you what that looks like. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to take a minute here. Okay, we've got our nuggets all done. They're nice and crispy. And I added a touch of ricotta. To my, oh my goodness, to my dip. Wow, that really kicks. That is so good. All right, so, and I'm gonna cut into this. I'm just gonna eat salad later. All right, so just want to cut into this, show you what that looks like now that it's had a chance to rest. Can you see that? All right, here, let's see how the ham and the cheese and everything is in there. The chicken's all nice and cooked. I cannot wait to taste this. I let it rest for about 20 minutes. So I'm gonna I forgot to get a fork and knife. Just realized that sounded like a line from Good Place, The Good Place. I forgot to get my fork and knife. Like, anyway. So I'm gonna take a taste of this and let you. Wow. That is nice. It didn't add any seasoning at all. There's so much salt and flavor in the ham and the bacon, and the cream cheese and the ricotta that I really don't think it needs any. If I were to add any, I think I might just do like a barbecue glaze on top at the end. But for a total experiment that I did the first time, this could have come out a lot worse. It's very, very good. If I were to do that in a restaurant, I would not be disappointed. So I was saying, I forgot to add in the cost of the bacon. And the ricotta. So actually, altogether, probably like $20, $25 and a ham. So I spent about $25 on all this. And I'm gonna have 2 gallons of chicken broth. I'm not sure what these weigh with the breading and everything, but I'm gonna venture to say 6 pounds at, I think it's like $9 a pound or something like that, for like the nuggets that don't have any preservatives or anything. And you can't get dark meat nuggets, and I think dark meat nuggets are better. But yeah, and I don't know what this would be worth if you bought it in a restaurant. I don't know what they would charge, but if they charge $20 for that with some fries or a side dish and a salad, I would easily be happy paying that. So, you know, those getting those leg quarters can really pay off if you just use a little bit of imagination and don't just bake them. So, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching.